But let's now cross to Adelaide and catch up with Liberal Senator Alex Antic. Thanks for joining us, Alex. There's a lot to talk about. You're involved in this Donald Trump Jr. visit. You're going to MC these events. This looks like it stinks to me. They're obviously delaying the visa, it looks like, the government, to cause trouble for him. Do you think he's been deliberately delayed by the government?
Oh, well, look, Chris, I don't know. I mean, I don't know what the background to the visa situation is, except to say that it, in terms of the scheduling of the various shows, it needed to be done by close of business yesterday. And I'm told that visa actually has been granted now, 4 p.m. today. Yeah. So, but having said all of that, business is business. And the organisers who I spoke to today have got to ensure that the show must go on. And they didn't know. They didn't know whether it was coming at all. I mean, it was open, I suppose, for it to be open-ended. And you've got to remember, Chris, this has happened before. Last year in September, when Nigel Farage was coming for his tour, the very same thing happened. They had 24 hours notice. And he was almost stuck in Mexico, I'm told, because there was no certainty as to the visa. So, look, I don't know what the background of this is, but I will say it is interesting that we never seem to hear this happening to left-wing speakers ever, do we?
It is true. Do you know if Donald Trump Jr. or any of the organisers tried to hurry the government along? They could have told some of us in the media a couple of weeks ago they were worried about delays. We might have pushed it along with some public pressure.
Yeah, look, I don't know the answer to that. I mean, all I can say is I'm told that the show will be postponed only, that it'll be coming back subject to availability of specifically Donald Trump Jr. And I hope so. I think Aussies want to hear from these people, particularly at the time when we're hearing about The Voice, which has so many parallels to the Trump election and so many parallels to Brexit. And the timing, hopefully, still is good in terms of hearing their experiences through those periods. So I'm still very hopeful.
We can't have the Voice argument now. We'll run right out of time, Alex. So the one other thing I wanted to get you on tonight, though, is freedom of speech and government censorship in this country. There's been this critical decision in the US where a court has said the Biden administration has suppressed freedom of speech by trying to pull down stuff and effectively pulling down stuff from the digital giants. You know better than anyone that our own federal government, under the Coalition and the Labor Party, has been doing this, and we've got this misinformation amendment bill going to Parliament. The government wants more power to pull stuff down from the social media. We've got to stop this, don't we?
Yeah, look, we sure do, and it's good to see this issue getting some press. I mean, you wrote about it when we did that Freedom of Information application a month or two ago, and I think you agreed like I did. It was a massive story to learn that the Department of Home Affairs was specifically requesting social media companies to take down the posts of Australians, many of which presumably now were true, under the guise of this sort of dastardly misinformation and disinformation and all that sort of stuff. Well, the question is, what does it actually mean? What is misinformation? What is disinformation? And now we're getting a double dose of this with this new communications, this ACMA bill, which is seeking to define misinformation and punish particularly smaller outlets, not the mainstream outlets, not government outlets for what they say, but particularly the smaller ones. In the United States, this issue is gaining traction. It should have gained traction here, but every time it gets raised, the media, as I said, other than yourself and a couple of others, dismiss it as being, oh, well, we're just saving people from, rabbit hole theories and all this sort of stuff. This is dangerous stuff, Chris. I mean, what's next? People having their views on climate change dismissed, or their views on The Voice, or their views on the government moving, the Calvary Hospital in the ACT. Is that misinformation? So I just think people need to be more alarmed. I'm really pleased to see this judge of the US make these findings and make these various injunctions. There's a talk that it'll get appealed, but at least we're talking about it. I mean, in my view, this is a massive, massive, massive issue facing countries that should hold freedom of speech dear to their hearts.
Yeah, it's a big issue for our times. I'm glad you're going to keep on it, and we'll keep in touch with you on it, Alex. I really appreciate your time. Liberal Senator for South Australia, Alex Antic there.